the easy trade, the worst words that a trader could ever say, but it's YouTube, and YouTube needs some clickbait. And I think that there actually is some compelling evidence to be shown today, so I'll let you be the judge of that. But as Bitcoin essentially goes, more or less sideways, it's time to get creative, very creative with what we're looking at. So ultimately, I want to be going through a bunch of different charts here, some things that actually we don't really look at all that often, and perhaps of particular interest, especially for those in traditional markets. Anyways, other than that, I want to welcome you back to the Krown Crypto channel. Sunday. Have a happy Sunday. Let's get the fuck into it. All right, sweet. Started off right on over here. Yesterday, we spoke about the dollar chart, Dixie, and we spoke about how this is still playing out a macro range overall after the rejection at about 107, just the top side of the range in this case that was formed in November of 2022, and it's been going on for the past, year, I suppose now. Anyways, in this case, we expect this to continue to come down here based off of yesterday's video. It's not going to be all in one straight line, obviously. Just playing between these two boundaries is likely likely what's going to happen in these next coming months. So as this one does come down, what can we deduce from that would then make some sort of analysis in other markets more relatable? Well, we can go to traditional markets, of course, as there is, a stronger correlation, or I should say negative correlation between Dixie, the dollar value, and traditional markets. Maybe a little bit less so with Bitcoin, and obviously, the strongest correlation is just with other fiat currencies. But what we can do is we can go check out a chart or a company in traditional markets that has a strong correlation with Bitcoin, which would be what? Coinbase. Coinbase being the major exchange, I think one of the most legitimate exchanges, at least in America. And as you can see over here, if we throw in a correlation coefficient with adaptive regression, we can see that on the daily, pretty strong correlation overall. Generally, it does kind of like to operate above spot 60, which is strong. Anything really above positive 50 is pretty damn good. And you can see in this case, as of recent, it's been, it's actually been above 80%. So overall, pretty strongly correlated, I would say, especially on a daily, which is relatively a lower term time frame to be looking at something like this. We could go to the weekly as well, but there's not really a whole hell of a lot of history here to be going over, and I really want to populate, more data. So we can kind of deduce from that, okay, Coinbase in traditional markets correlated with Bitcoin strongly. If we are looking at Dixie as kind of a harbinger of maybe what's next to come in this next move, well, this would be a pretty damn good signal that Coinbase probably does continue on with this rally, at least towards those highs that we did see in July, and I would actually guess much higher to like 133 or so. Of course, what we can do now is we can go ahead and look at the Oracle Pro on this thing, which chart do I have it on? Yeah, I have it right on over here. And we can see that for Coinbase specifically, that on the, both the 4-hour and the daily time frame did catch this rally relatively recently on the 6th of November. And this one is printing a strong signal. Now, the last one was a strong signal as well, to be fair, and, it's more or less a wash trade after having some pretty damn good ones here, actually, especially this one over here, I would say. Again, a lot of the time when this thing does go sideways, when assets go sideways, this thing just kind of spins its wheels, but when it trends, it does well. Anyways, this to me over here would, look a lot more like a breakout in this case, alongside that signal, especially on this gap up, retested, and then back onto the upside. That is kind of a classic move. So ultimately, I'd be looking at that as, hey, Coinbase likely to go up, Dixie likely to go down. Okay, these two things make sense. And then the question, becomes what would be, the areas of interest? Well, of course, in the more immediate term, if we go over here to our HPDR on the weekly, we can see that Coinbase is actually breaking out of the 50% of historic returns range highs. So I do believe that coupled with the Oracle signal, pretty damn good in the sense that, this one likely does continue at least to the next range high, which is about $108.50, basically the highs that we did see in July. And with that, we do see that volatility is actually rising above the 50 percentile read for the first time in a very long time here, as of this past week. So I expect that this rally does continue upwards and onwards. It does look, what I'm trying to say is that the breakout is real. I mean, we do see a macro reversal here, low, higher low, higher low yet again, and in the process of maybe putting in its first higher high. So, looking at it from that angle, I would say Coinbase has a pretty damn good case for, not just continuation here, but maybe even a major macro breakout. So when we go ahead and, and discuss that as far as like what could be the long-term consequences for that, or not long-term consequence, just the long-term areas of interest. Well, what we could do is we could throw on and a Fibonacci retracement. We can see that the levels already line up pretty damn well. You can see the 50% retracement coming in right around 113.50, which would be essentially another higher high. So if assuming Coinbase can reclaim that region, I really would be looking for this rally to get going much deeper into the 100s, probably at least 150 around the 618. That's always a good area of interest, at least for a pullback and maybe consolidation. But anywhere within this block would kind of make sense to me. So between about $150 to 200. So really would have a lot of room to run, theoretically speaking. And seeing that it does have a strong correlation with Bitcoin, well, that would kind of bode well for Bitcoin over the long term. Okay, we're talking about over the long term. I personally speaking for Bitcoin still think it goes sideways, at best here for a little bit of time, and then probably tries another move to the upside. I'm still kind of looking at December. I do think that based off of what we've spoken about over the past couple weeks, the current move is likely done and just going sideways, going to fill out the range a bit. Obviously, I can be wrong in that, but and we'll visit that topic a little bit later. But still kind of leaning towards that overall. Anyways, also what we can do is we can check out GBTC, another thing in traditional markets, although less legitimate than Coinbase for sure. It trades OTC, so it's not as interesting, but does have correlations with Bitcoin, obviously. Actually, even greater than Coinbase, to be fair, over a longer period of time, I should say. But this one is showing. If I can. Yeah, if I can throw back on, do I have my drawing tools here? Yeah, is showing that the rally above the 618, let me just put it onto weekly view right there, and let's get rid of this because we don't need that right now, is starting to wane in its power. So again, another one that does say, probably bases around here for a bit, maybe even comes back down and tests around the 618, but ultimately, does look very good long term. It's just this is a great place for a consolidation after a pretty monumental run over the past couple months, which was just fucking vertical. Like it's just vertical. Like it's not crazy to think that things might come down a little bit and consolidate lower. Like that's okay. It's reasonable. Also on that topic, we can go ahead and visit the Oracle over here. Where's my damn Oracle? Oracle, where the fuck are you? There you are. Found you. And we can see that on the lower term timeframes, we are starting to get closing signals. So on this particular rally, which it did do a pretty damn good job of, caught it over here on Friday the 29th of September, actually trading at about $19 and closed it over here, like 28 and a half bucks. Not bad. I'll take that. It is suggesting that it's probably time to be waiting for something new to go on, and you probably do see a range, something like this, and blah 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 blah. Takes its time throughout the rest of November, and then perhaps a Santa rally, something like that would kind of make sense. So I do still think that the Bitcoin short-term rally probably over in the short term. Can I be wrong about that? Yeah. Abso-fucking-lutely. As always, I remain the right to be wrong about anything and everything. And realistically, it shouldn't really even be my opinion. It should just be based off of stats and probabilities. So let's just go ahead and look at that over here from the HPDR ranges, which is so fucking close to being released. Holy moly, man. I'm so excited. I'm so fucking excited because I think that these tools are just, I love them. I fucking love them. Anyways, okay, yeah, so more to the point, if we do look at Bitcoin on Bybit, so spot Bitcoin here, HPDR ranges, we can still see that the range, downside showing about 35,750 or so, and the top side showing at about 39,300. So to be fair, this one is still getting marched up here. So I will be wrong on a more prolonged consolidation within this region. If you see Bitcoin essentially reclaim what is the median as of right now, which is like 37,300. Of course, I will be, or my opinion will be right if we do start to see it crack back down below 35,750. On a closing basis at that point, probably plays back down to the bottom side of the range, which is starting to rise up a bit here as well, but is now in the mid 33s. So have to kind of monitor it as days go on just to see where the next sort of ticks bring it. But for right now, the more sideways that it does go here, the more that actually will benefit the boo laws, to be fair. So there is that, and we do see that volatility has been in a contraction phase while directional volatility was corrective here, so that also does favor the boot loss, to be fair. So again, that's kind of how to interpret this going on right here. it does align with like the next area of interest that I do look at as far as the upside. It's just the timing of this is the real question in my opinion. Somewhere between low 39s to like 41, let's say 41 would kind of be the major area of interest. But for right now, I think Coinbase is the easy trade, actually. That's the one that I think is a little bit more obvious as it does kind of play catch up here. Anyways, I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this particular video. We'll come back at it tomorrow, hopefully with some new price action, because it's hard to make content out of this shit right here. It just goes sideways. Maybe we'll look at something else. Maybe we'll look at like Ethereum, also pretty fucking boring. Maybe we'll look at Solana as I drop my tape measurement onto the ground. Anyways, yeah, that's going to do it for today. As always, wish you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully Monday.